and says, "Dear God, tell me what it is I need to know." Without a bias, without a prejudgment of what they think the answer might be. And that's when it flows in. And sometimes the answer is simple. Dear one, if you come to that point, that precipice, and you need answers so badly and you want to hear the numbers or the words, don't be disappointed if all you get is a hug. And my partner said it, that is an answer. And the answer when you get a hug is that practical answers are on the way. You're going to get them. You're going to see them. Synchronicity will bring them. And in the process, relax. Without the relaxation of that, you will make decisions that'll get in the way of the synchronicity that will occur. Therefore, the hug is an answer, isn't it? That you're not alone. That you're never alone. This entire seminar, this entire day, has been about perceptual communications. From the information about the alignment of 2012 right down to what my partner calls a quantum perception, has been everything he has been told to do. And through synchronicity, he has been given the teaching points. And this is the way it works. And whether it's an author on stage, or whether it's a mom with her kids, the answers come in these ways. The mother loves their children so much, wants to see them with wisdom. The children don't necessarily have yet. Doesn't want them to make the mistakes they made. I want to tell you, there are answers in that. There are answers in that. Teach the children what you know about God. That's the answer. Don't teach the child what was wrong with what they did or what's wrong with what you did. Don't teach the child necessarily the lineage of mistakes you made. Instead, look in the child's eyes and say, I want to tell you what I found. It is most important to me, that goes beyond any generation gap that ever existed. I found God in me and you got it in you. And you can find it any way you want to. But it's going to keep you out of trouble. It's going to keep you wise. And innately you'll know what to do at the times when your parents are not around. You couldn't give a child anything better than that. This is quantum teaching. The word quantum used in a popular way, meaning that which appears to be nonsensical randomness has purpose and there is a system to it. You can't see the logic of it because it's out of your dimensional perception. So I want this to be a message today, a core message, one that gets published, about perception. I want to show you how human beings perceive God in an old and a new energy, and how God perceives humans. Pieces and parts of all this been taught now for 21 years. We put it together so you can hear it yet again. Altogether, perceptual message. Human beings are changing the way they think. But it cannot change unless you get out of what you would call the survival instinct of 3 dimensions. For within the reality that you claim is all there is the box you put God in. And that gets in the way of everything you do. Think about these things. All of these years, what humans do with energy. When you feel something that is not part of your reality, it disturbs you. And you do one of two things with it. You either worship it or you condemn it. Very few human beings absorb it. Because it's frightening, is it not? It is not in the box of the reality that you would expect. If a miracle happens, what do? Thank you, God, you say. All of the credit, therefore, goes to a divine power you cannot understand, which is beyond all things explainable. And if something goes bump in the night, it's the devil. It's evil. Now let me expand your box for a moment. What if all of those things were normal? What if they're part of humanism? What if instead of closing in your box, you build a bigger box? If that suits you, do it. Take the box and double its size and include energies you don't understand in the smaller box. And here is the invitation. Spirit is having fun. Sound from heaven. The next time you get an unusual healing, something that happens out of the normal, something that you might even label as typical spontaneous remission, which isn't, why don't you say, thank you, inside the Creator, which allowed this to be manifested. Why don't you say, I am powerful in that I am a piece of God, and all of these things I give thanks for. In the name of who I am, a creative piece of the universe, learning to expand my energy. And when something goes bump in the night, you might consider that it's part of a system of energy, for we have told you that all energies that are produced on the planet stay here. All good things, all bad things in your purview. If there was a dramatic moment, something that is abominable to the human spirit, it is imprinted in the air. Bang! Stays there like a tape that replays itself. It's energy. Doesn't necessarily mean it's an entity, does it? And you might experience it. It's not evil. It's simply energy. And what does it beg you to do? Clear it. We've told you this before because your energy allowance has an attribute. That light is more powerful than dark because light is active and dark is passive. That is to say, if you have a dark room and you open the door, dark does not leak out. If instead you light a match, darkness vanishes, for it cannot exist with light there, you see? Dark has no substance, for it is defined as the absence of light. Therefore, if you come upon an energy which you feel is a stamp of inappropriateness for your magnificence that is in your purview, turn on the light and it will go away. It is as simple as that. You can address it. You can say, energy be gone, for you have no more purpose. Let there be light in this place. I've just given somebody an answer who came here for it. It's time to expand the box. Perhaps it's time to eliminate it. The perception of the human being creates what is called the magnificence of God and the power of evil. It's only a perception. Let me tell you what our perception is, that all of you, each one, carries a magnificent potential to control the energies for yourself, around you, for your life. Don't be afraid of either one. If you come across something inappropriate, clear it up. If you come across something magnificent, claim it as your power and move forward to the next step. Do you hear what I'm saying? Time to have a perceptual shift, is it not? Humanity has consistently put God in a box of fear. You fear God, do you not? Because God is big and humans are not, supposedly. Let's talk about that human perception. The human wants to paste human attributes on the divine. The creator of the universe. Supposedly, when you step across the veil, you're going to find strife. You're going to find war. You're going to find angels fighting angels. That's your mythology, isn't it? You're going to find one of the attributes of humanity that you have pasted on God completely and totally. You're going to find punishment and reward. Did you know it doesn't exist on this side of the veil? I want to tell you what exists on my side of the veil. A soup of magnificent energy. It sings a message in color and light. There's no strife here. The creator energy has no strife here. There's no punishment here. There's no reward here. There's only creator energy here. You're part of the creator energy family. You should know this. And you should have the wisdom also to know that all of the things you paste upon God are the human attributes. That you can't think past that box of what God must be like. Mm-hmm. And so you create wars in heaven, you create angel strife, you create things that would then explain the devil. Fallen angels, pearly gates, lists of do's and don'ts, of goods and bads, accounting, places you go, golden streets. All human perspective pasted upon God. I want to tell you it's a lot different than that. And I want to remind you that there are those who have seen it. Why don't you ask somebody who has had what you would call a near-death experience, when they got close, ever so close to the Creator's energy, when they just barely touched it, when the heart was stopping and the breathing was almost gone, before they were brought back to life with science. They got to go there. They got to touch the hand of God that was just barely creeping through the door that was barely opening. And what they saw was magnificent. Filled with love and filled with light and filled with family. Filled with beauty. There was no strife there. There was no punishment there. And when they came back, listen to what they told you. For it changed their lives, didn't it? Listen to each one talk about it. There is nothing to fear, they said. Death is something you experience a lot of. Blessed is the human being when they're born and when they die. And they have the wisdom to say, oh, it's uncomfortable, but I'll get over it. Because I've done it before. Birth and death, most uncomfortable. And how many times have you done it, old soul? All of you are going to go through it again. Every single one in this room is coming back. Sorry. I'll tell you why. I've said it before. You have the mind of God on the other side of the veil, not the mind of a human being. You see the Akash, you know who you are, you see the lineage, a purpose of who you are. You can't stay on my side of the veil when you're not complete, when you're not finished. Here you are in this shift. It's going to shift the planet so that when you return, you can finally do something. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is the transition. And you come back, you can finally do something. Old soul, it's imminent. Some of you over 50,000 years old. You're not going to stay away. You're not going to miss the end of the transition. There's a lot more here perceived than you know. In an old energy, humans even took God to the limit, making many of them, one for the ocean, one for the sky, giving them children, creating anger, reward, love and hate. All the Greek gods had that. Trickery, deceit, deception, revenge, all assigned to God. Have you ever heard a revengeful God? That is a human attribute pasted upon the energy of fear. There's nothing to fear. You're growing up. You're starting to understand that if the Creator's inside, that communication to God is instantaneous. It is yours to have. You don't need an intermediary. You might have in an older energy. That's why it occurred. Let me tell you about worship. Let me define worship for you. Blessed is the human being who gets together with another human being or a group of human beings to celebrate their divinity. That's worship. And what is exactly the thing you're worshiping? Is it a great divine power that you are going to kneel in front of? Or are you honoring that which is the God inside you? You know the answer. For humanity is beginning to see it and beginning to change. I am Kryon, so I feel an interdimensionality that you cannot. I feel this box you're in. Do you know what's happened in this room in these years? Since the 80s? You know what's happened in here? Epiphanies. Joy. Transmutation of sorrow and fear into peace, understanding. You know how many human beings have been healed in this room? It's almost endless. The lineage of the space you sit in knows the truth of what I say. The very wood, carpet, cement, plastic reeks with a message to me. I see it all. It makes me weep with joy of those that found the family in this room. And it doesn't just stop there. For Spirit then looks at those who built it and the purpose and the intent of the builders. It doesn't even stop there. It even goes back to honoring those who created the name on the building, their purpose, their vision, the synchronicity in their lives. A couple, not just the one, but the two. And had they not processed and proceeded in an old energy and fought against many things, the building would not be here. The synchronicity of the healings would not have occurred. This is what Spirit sees. What is our perception of you, dear human being? I will tell you that there are those in the room who we see the same kind of lineage I just described about the founders here. That is to say that there are seeds being planted and synchronicity beginning that will create a place of worship, a place of healing within their own lives. And I don't mean a building. I mean a family that gets healed. You know who I'm talking to? I hope you do. At this moment, I speak to those in the building and not the reader, not the hearer. In the building, I am telling you there are those here who can leave different than they came. They can leave with the seed planting that will actually help those around them in ways that those around them will go on to affect those who are around those others around them. And you start what you would call then a pyramid of joy. It's the first time I've used the term. That's what we see. That is our perception. We don't see a singular human being. We see the culmination of your lives, of your wisdom, of what you've learned, of the shamans that sit in the room pretending to be ordinary. We see the potential of what you can do and what is coming. But not if you don't believe it. Do you understand the profundity of what I am saying? If you walk out of the room unchanged, if you don't open your heart, there's no punishment. Same number of angels go out with you, dear one, as the healer. But what also goes out is lost potential. There are those who have come for healing in the room. And so I'll just say it. Do you want it or not? And if you do, don't decide that it's going to be a spontaneous thing and run and get a blood test. What if instead there is something implanted in you to give you information and wisdom to proceed and meet somebody else who knows what to do? What about that? Don't decide how it's going to work. Honor the process of synchronicity, of the planting of spiritual seeds that lead you to other places you not necessarily would have gone to. That's how healing works. It includes the healing of a workplace, and you know who I'm talking to right now, for you've come with this issue. I'll tell you how it can be healed, and you don't believe it. It's going to start with you. When you relax with the problem before you and it no longer pushes the buttons of drama, anger, and frustration, watch what happens around you. It'll solve itself. I want to tell you, there's energies that want to push your buttons. And as long as you react, they're happy. When you stop reacting, they'll find something else to do. You understand the process I just gave you? Let it begin in you. Every master that walked this earth had an attribute. People loved them. Animals loved them. Children loved them. Nature loved them. They could walk by flowers and they'd bloom. This is real. They had the energy of God. And all of nature saw it, all of the children saw it, all the animals saw it, and an adult, even one who was dense in an older energy, didn't understand but just wanted to sit next to him. And that includes the Christ. The one whose picture hangs laughing in the hallway. You just want to be with him, didn't you? Can you imagine if he were here? What would this magnificent master have to offer I want to tell you, most of you wouldn't care. You just want to sit next to him and feel the love and enjoy the presence and know all is well. And you know I'm right. So here's the puzzle. How would you like that for you? To be so alive with that which is inside that all those around you just want to be with you. Don't want you to do anything. They just want to be with you. Mom, I'll tell you something. If you make the shift, your children are not going to leave you. Now that's for somebody reading. Don't be afraid of it. Because the children are going to see God in you. They're not going to see weirdness in you. Don't give them a Kryon book. Just be a great mom. They'll find their own books. That's the perception we have. A long-term planting of seeds that sometimes don't even bloom until you come back in another body. What about that? But unless you do it right now, the next one is going to have the same problems you've got today. So why not create a setup that allows for you to change your Akash now, so that no matter what happens in the future, no matter what the incarnation or expression you have, you're going to come in ready to work with a light turned on. And you never have to go through what you've gone through this time, ever. How does it sound? Well, that's what the human being can do in this energy. And that's our perception today of you. It's not a fearful God. It's a magnificent family partner with its hand out. Can you get over the perception that God is big and you're not? Can you get over the perception that God's in the sky and you're not? Can you instead encompass a perception that says you are everywhere and that God is you? And when you walk out the door, you're not alone. And when you have a perplexing problem or a frustration, you can learn to breathe, relax, and get the answer you need. And it may not be in 3D. It may not be in the numbers or the words. But you'll know which direction to turn because you'll feel it. Trust first impressions. They're the ones that are subtle. They're the ones that you're not used to. That's the energy that is expanded outside of the box that you're in. Don't analyze it. Don't intellectualize it. Listen to your heart. There is a balance between the intellectual and the heart. It's needed to move into the areas that we speak of. Don't throw away your logic. Enhance it with the heart. And then here's something for somebody. My partner spoke of the bias that the human always wants to move forward and never backward. You don't understand. Sometimes moving back is to revisit something to learn it better. It's not a bad thing. Somebody needed to hear that here. Give it another shot. Don't make up your mind. It's over. And that's for you, and you know who I'm talking to. I know who you are. Why wouldn't I? Family, why wouldn't I? With auras that are 26 feet across, why wouldn't I? You think you're hiding in the back there? Oh. Magnificent. I have a woman sitting here who used to hold a very big sword. And she knows who she is. In battle, he was great. And now she holds the sword differently. Today it's the sword of truth. And she slays drama And she slays all things inappropriate. And the sword is even bigger. You don't know who you are. Maybe it's time you listened to inside. Your DNA knows. Inside your DNA, 90% of it is involved in spiritual quest. 90% is quantum. Less than 5% of DNA makes 30,000 human genes. That's the 3D part. 90% is all the rest. It is the beauty of the higher self. It is the angel inside. It is the guides. It is the Akashic record. It is the pointers to the entourage. It's the pipeline. It's the golden cord. It's whatever you want to call it. It's in every single human being. And you are beginning to activate it. It brings you to the chairs today, does it not? Makes you wonder why you're here. I know why you're here. I know what brought you here. You all have something in common. You're all my family. You even remember what the universe looks like. You can hardly wait to take a look again. Beautiful beyond words. Glorious with energies that you will remember when you go back. And when it's time, you'll return. There is no one God. There is all of us. And how many is that? It's all. An infinite number of ones that together make it all work in a system called love. That is the power of the universe, and you can see it in the way the Creator creates. Astronomers pay attention, for you're looking at a benevolent Creator. And you can see it in that which is created in the universe. It is biased for life. It is not random. There is a system, and physics is starting even to discover it. He even gave it a name, intelligent design. There it is. Proof, if you wish, that God is good. Do you have a fearful God? Or do you have a family member? That's the question we leave you with. Perception. Change it. And you're going to find something that you didn't expect. As you vibrate higher, all of the things that have been in a higher vibration will start to show themselves. Invisible to you in a lower vibration, observable and usable in a higher one. The tools lay there, unused and ready. Manifestation is yours. Longer life, the elimination of disease, the beginning of you being able to change your own cellular structure, your makeup. You can do things that only stem cells can do with your very conscious thought. It's always been there. But you're going to have to vibrate higher to see it. Perception. How do you perceive us? I hope today has changed it. And you will see us the way we are. Family with our hands out, ready to take yours. On a journey you didn't expect. And so it is.
Let's move into a meditation where we welcome the energies of both the masculine and the feminine to be balanced within our body. So I invite you to close your eyes and allow everything within your body to just relax. Have some deep breathing and feel the energy within your body. And focus on the attributes of masculine energy and what they mean to you. You may think of words such as protection, strength, courage, and allow yourself to focus on the energy of the divine feminine. And you may think of attributes such as love, compassion, patience, wisdom, and understanding. And now ask and give the intent to balance the masculine and the feminine within. Give the intent that we now balance the energies of divine masculine and divine feminine within the core of our being. And when we feel, sense or imagine this balance of divine masculine and divine feminine, know that this is the energy that Kryon comes to you with this full complement of divine masculine and feminine. So now we welcome in the beautiful energies of Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. These are amazing times. The times perhaps you didn't expect. The entire thrust of this program for the last year, for this next year and beyond,
is to help you through this time. And the best way to do it is that which I have developed and told my partner would be the circle of 12. A metaphor for the structure of all things, the 12s, the beauty, the majesty of that. But the main one is to step into an area that old souls are not used to stepping into, and that is your own magnificence, your own soul. This month, we present 4 channelings, and this will be the first of the 4. And those 4 channelings are going to be called things which are hiding in plain sight. So hiding in plain sight is the title, and it's going to be a revelation of the true magnificence of every human being. The fact that they are hiding means that they are unknown to most. Something which is hiding usually means that there is an intent in the hiding, and there is. We have told you from the beginning that free choice is that which we give you to develop and find things which are hiding. That if you simply wander on this planet and look around with what people tell you, with what is there, with what is presented to you in 4 dimensions, you will not see it. The ones who were the best at discovering the things that were hiding were the indigenous. They recognized right away that there was more to what was humanity themselves than what they saw. And that led them to so many things that today you are rediscovering. They discovered the things that were hiding in plain sight, including the connection to the earth, the connection to the ancestors. They knew about astronomy way before there were astronomers. They understood what was in the sky and how it moved, affected them, just like the astrologers of today. So there are many things that are hiding, and we have chosen 4 of the major ones. And the major ones that perhaps you know, or you think you know. And this may be a review for the old souls, but there are so many listening to this who need to hear it. How do I begin to tell you what the first one is? And it's the greatest one. We don't save it till last. We want to reveal it on this program in all of its beauty and its glory. Because these are the things you are not told, dear ones. There is no major belief system today who will give you this statement or this information the way I am going to give you now, and that makes it controversial. What if you didn't have it right? What if all of those belief systems developed so many years ago, thousands of years ago, with all of the trappings and all of the rules? What if that was developed in an old energy because things were hiding and they didn't know any better? What if they misinterpreted some of the greatest things on the planet that were given to them, and today they're being revealed? What if you are far more magnificent than anyone ever told you? And that's the premise. There is a grander truth out there, dear ones. The biggest statement we want to give you is this: hiding in plain sight, you are a piece of God. To some, this would be blasphemous, for their whole premise of their belief system is that you are nothing and you were born dirty and you don't even deserve to look on the face of God because God is so beautiful and you are not. And if you've been told that, it's tough to rewrite that story. But I'll tell you, it's just the reverse. You have a soul. You know you have a soul. Do you think God would have given you a dirty soul? Because the soul is part of God, and you have a soul. What does that tell you you are? Dear ones, you have inside you the ability to do what the masters did on this planet. It is beautiful, beyond beautiful. It is magnificent. It comes with the promise. And the promise is this, that you can perform the same things that the masters did. And then we start telling you that it comes with consciousness and intent and practice and the energy of the earth, which has shifted to allow it. That's what the Circle of 12 is all about. There was a master named Jesus, followed today by 1 billion people. And it was carefully done. He was put on this planet as a man, not an angel. An angel did not come down called Jesus. It was a man. And through this short life of this man, especially toward the end, he showed everyone who was there what he could do. And it was miraculous, truly, today. He woke people up, seemingly, who were dead. He created things out of nothing and was able to supply the fishes and the loaves and when there were none. He walked on the water. He did so many things that those who will follow him will talk to and say, you see, that's why we worship him. He didn't come to be worshiped. Dear ones, that man came to this planet to show you what you can do. He was called the Son of God, and yet he himself, in certain ways, perhaps in veiled ways, in certain metaphors, said, you're all sons of God. And that was the reason he came, to show you what you could do. And in an old energy, dear ones, he was worshipped, and then, of course, he was disposed of. That's an old energy of the planet. That's what you did with the prophets at the time, and he wasn't the only one. Now, here's what I want to tell you. Almost everything he did is being done today by other men in certain countries that the Western world is not even aware of or doesn't want to acknowledge because it's just too strange. Creating things out of nothing, yes, it's been done. Awakening those from the dead, yes, it's been done. Touching people and having them go into spontaneous remission, yes, it's being done. Creating changes in physics so you can do things even as odd as walk on the water, yes, it's been done. In this modern day, you can find it, and it's there. Because that was the message of the Master. You can do these things just like I can. Because inside you, you have the creative source. That is the legacy that you come with, old soul. This entire time, from 2012 to now, has been shaped by the changes in the magnetic grid when I arrived in 1989, moving in a way so that consciousness could also start to shift and move. The relationship between consciousness and magnetics has been shown in science and proven. Therefore, consciousness is energy. And now you know, consciousness can play an important part in physics, and they're going to discover that. Already they're starting to work with that which is coherence, and that is what one human being can do with another and with groups. All of these things are starting to rewrite what you think you can do. And now some of those who come to this program as guests will start to use the same words that I have used for all these years. Look for the words magnificent. That's who you are. It's difficult to rewrite a story, a narrative, perhaps, that you've had from birth that would say to you that you are not able to do certain things, that you're not worthy to do them. And people in high respected places, perhaps even those you love, will face off to you and look in your eyes and say, you know, don't you, that you're not worthy. And you believe them. And it's not a conspiracy to make you unworthy. It's the best they had, dear ones. It's their belief, dear ones. But what if, just what if, it's changed? And now the revelation of a grander truth, a beautiful truth, can be yours. What if the sun has come out spiritually and given you the ability to look around for yourself and say, well, maybe they got it wrong. And it's not their fault they got it wrong. And they're still getting it wrong. It's not their fault because it's their narrative and their story and what they were told and what they believe. But what if it's so much bigger than that? And in that, perhaps you don't need a system at all. In that, perhaps all you need is love and the compassion to take the hand of Spirit and say, yes, I now understand that I am part of the plan that is God, that I'm here for a reason that is far, far grander than anything anyone ever told me. And that reason is to help the planet with compassion and love. And I can do it just like the masters did it with them. And I can assemble people who want to know about it because I love them so much.
For all of you who are out there dealing with how to overcome and transmuting those things, we truly are holding that space for you as you make your journey on that way. And I want to finish out these questions with an affirmation that came from Guru Deva. Guru Deva was the founder of a Hindu monastery in Kauai. And when Lee and I were there, I picked up one of his affirmations, and they sit on my desk. And interestingly, when this question came up, that affirmation was on my desk. So let's use that affirmation as we prepare for that message from Kryon. I invite you to close your eyes and hear these words from Guru Deva. I am not my body, mind, or emotions. They are but shells of the infinite energy that flows through them all. I am this energy. I am its source. I am on my way to merge with the Creator. And let us now hear the beautiful message from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. I always say this, that I know who is listening. Spirit understands so much more than you think. Did you ever consider your soul as part of an entirely huge system of souls? Did you ever consider the multidimensionality of you and your soul being part of the creative source, God? And it is. This is how we know the consciousness of those who tune in, those who are listening, those who are watching live, those who are watching later. Even if this message is seen months, years later, it is still alive with the grandest truth of the universe. This is a series of 4, and this is the second series of the 4. And the title of the series is Things Hidden in Plain Sight. We brought you the first one last week, the grandest of all. This second one may seem to be something that is common, that I've repeated over and over. So we're going to personalize it just a little bit for your time. One of the grandest things that is hidden in plain sight for you, all of you, is that you are a healer, a self-healer. That everything in your body that you consider is inappropriate or wrong, you can change. And you can change this as you sit there. Hidden in plain sight is the ability for you to actually alter your chemistry. Not only can you alter your own chemistry for your own healing and youthing, but you can alter it at the core level. That is your DNA. You can change the instruction sets of your DNA. That is how powerful you are. And some of you are saying, I don't understand what that means. Dear ones, your life and your chemistry is written in the manuals, you might say, of the chemistry that is so complex within your DNA. There have been those, not just me, who have faced off with you on this very program and said you have the ability to rewrite those instruction sets so that if you have what is called an inheritable disease, you will not pass it on to your children because you can erase it in your instruction sets and never worry that they'd have it. It goes even beyond that. It's so what you would call metaphysical or esoteric that you would say, I don't understand it because it can't happen. And that's where you're wrong. You have grown up with instructions that tell you, a programming that has told you outside of the body of what you can and cannot do. And so, therefore, when something hurts, you never go inward, you go outward. You find someone else who can help, and they often can, and many do. But is your first impression to turn inward or outward? Inside of you, what hides is majesty. I want you to consider some things, and then I want to get personal. Let's say you have a tumor growing in you. Whether it's benign or not, it's there. Where did it come from? Are you aware it did not come from outer space? It did not come from another dimension. It came from, are you ready? Your own chemistry, thoughts, and consciousness. That's where it came from. Now, you won't like that. And those perhaps who are sitting and listening to me who are in trouble with something growing in them will say, I didn't ask for this, I didn't create it, I didn't want it, it just arrived. And I will tell you something, dear ones, that all the evidence is in your consciousness and your body. It didn't come from outer space. It grew there because of the chemistry that was either created by you, your thoughts, or allowed by you because of your habits. You created it. Now, if you understand that, you also understand you can uncreate it. The chemistry that created it is the chemistry that can uncreate it. It is doable. So many times, we have given you this phrase. Talk to your cells, they are listening. And there are so many who will say, well, I don't fully understand that, but I'll talk out loud to my cells, and I'll tell you this, that you're simply throwing words into the air. You're not getting it. This has to be an internal process of intent where you sit there for some time and visualize all of the cells that you want to talk to and start giving them the intention of what they're going to do. I want you to understand that there is one boss of the body, and that's you. Your culture, however, doesn't have you as the boss. Somehow you live in your head, and everything below your head is just what they call potluck. It'll just do what it does. And then you're just lucky if you survive. And that is how you've been taught. You have no control. And you hope everything works. That is not how it works. Hidden in plain sight is the ability to change chemistry, to void things that are inappropriate in your body. Did you get that? You can heal anything that's there. You can accelerate healing of anything that is there. You can make it go away, just like it arrived. This is provable. So many have had this happen. You count on this process for homeopathy, sending body a signal, a tiny signal, and it works. Spontaneous remission, it works. You've seen this. Placebo effect, it works. You think it's going to work, you get a sugar-coated pill, and suddenly it works. What does that tell you? Hidden in plain sight, the master healer of you, your chemistry, your DNA, your body is listening. Okay, I'm going to give you the same information I have given before, that my partner has answered in questions before, regarding the vaccination. And it doesn't matter which one. I'm going to tell you something you should hear. There are those out there right now wringing their hands because they do not want to take the vaccination being offered all over the planet. They may fear the chemistry of it, or they may not like it. Now, this is not a political statement. It's not about whether you should or should not. This is a statement in case you take it and you feel you've had to, and you're sitting there in despair because you've taken something you didn't want to, and now you're afraid of its effects. First of all, let me tell you, you should be. This particular vaccination, one of them in particular, down the line will show itself as inappropriate in reproduction. You're going to see it. And they didn't know it, and it was not tested long enough. But there are those who say everyone should take it, and therefore many have. What about you? Let me tell you something. If you take it, you are in charge of the chemistry of it. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. On your own, even if it's RNA-based, you can change what it has done. You can void all of the inappropriate things and be just fine. If you can change the chemistry of your ancestry, you can do that. I want you to know, and I want you to hear it. If you fear the vaccine, now, many don't. Many feel it is exactly what should be. But if you fear it and had to take it, or are facing the specter of taking it and you don't want to, don't wring your hands, dear ones. Don't be afraid, dear ones. You are the master healer of your own chemistry and can void anything inappropriate in your body. That is miraculous, and that is hidden in plain sight. Why don't we all take a moment, including my partner, and respect this. Sit with it and say, thank you, Spirit, in these times of trouble.
And I invite you to close your eyes, deepen your breathing, and think about all of the masters that have been on our planet. There have been so many come in physical form to show us the potential that exists within all of us. And each of you will have your own version of who that master healer is for you. They could be alive on the planet now, or they could be someone that has been on the planet, had an end-of-life experience, and is now communicating at a soul level. Whatever that master is to you, let us ask to receive an eternal peace to help us in our understanding of the bigger picture, to bring us peace when things happen and we don't know the reason why something has happened. So that when we face a situation where we look at that situation and ask, why did this happen? Let us use that as the invitation for the energy of peace to descend upon us from the Masters. Allow the energy of peace to descend upon you. You are receiving that from the Masters. And as that bubble of peace wraps around you, let us invite the wisdom of the words from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. A bubble of peace. How appropriate that this was brought up. This is indeed another installment of the series of 4, which we call things which are hiding in plain sight. If you take a look at the human being, the way you are right today, it's the way you were before, and before that. It's the way the ancients were. That hasn't changed much. What has changed is consciousness. Your ability perhaps to understand and develop belief systems that involve very complex ideas that are beyond that which is 3D. You have no problems with a beautiful, loving God that can hear a billion prayers all at once. That's not linear. You don't even ask, how can God do it? What if that reality which you consider is God actually spills into that which is the human being's soul, and then spills into that which is the design of the multidimensional parts of a human being? Dear ones, your cellular structure, your DNA, has multidimensional pieces and parts. If you don't believe that, ask this: what does a quantum biologist study? They study the multidimensional parts of the human being, the quantum parts, they would say. Quantum is a word that we would use, perhaps improperly to a physicist, that says it is a multidimensional part. If that is true, that means that you also have within you the ability to be nonlinear. Kryon, what are you talking about? All this science. One of the things that's hiding in plain sight is your soul. Now, we have never really said that before. We've talked about some of the other things hiding in plain sight before, but not this one. This is new. That is why the Circle of 12 was conceived. It's a new concept that you can identify and walk into that which is your soul part. That soul part of you is miraculous. That soul part of you is also part of the creative source itself. So when you're there, dear ones, it is an amazing experience, because anything is possible. This is where you can meet and work with your past lives. When you walk into that which is your soul energy, you've seen it on the Circle of 12, right here, over and over. There is no limitation to what you might be able to do. You think about these things. What is it that perhaps you could do if you could walk into that which is the soul of yourself? Who could you meet? I want you to take a look for a moment and remember what the Circle of 12 has given you in the aspects of who has been in the theater. and what has taken place in that theater. These are all metaphors of what you can do for yourself if you could meet your soul. Now, there are so many who would tell you at this moment, don't pay any attention to that silly stuff. You can't do that. They'll tell you that the soul is completely and totally removed from you. It's on the other side of the veil, and the mechanism of the soul is simply that which is up to God, and that you yourself have nothing to do with it while you're here. Now I ask you, does that really make sense? Would you have designed it that way? Now I continually say these things about spiritual logic. How would you have designed yourself in pure compassion and love from the other side of the veil? And we've said this before, would you have designed a system that removes you from God? That's what so many teach even today. A system which has you groveling in the dirt, climbing ladders in order to, that's a metaphor, steps or ladders in order to gain that which God would give you, of looking down so you don't have to look in the face of God because you're not worthy. Does that sound familiar? Would you have designed it that way? Does a parent design that for their kids? And the answer is no. Compassion and love have to win. Light is winning. So get into some spiritual logic and understand that these things start to make sense. Your soul is spectacular in every single way. It is the core spirituality, I would say spiritually, it is the core source of you and the Creator's connection. It's the core source of you and the Creator's connection, connecting with God. Is it possible that you can look into the face of the Creator? And the answer is yes, because when you do, you look at your own face. You are part of everything. The soul is eternal. It never started and it never will end, just like the Creator. There is no difference. Imagine God always had souls within it, ready to do what you're doing. That means you are part of the creative source. And for the first time, we tell you, you can touch the face of God. You have permission. It's always been there. But now in this new energy, it's doable. Hiding in plain sight is the ability for you to cross that bridge that we do every day. You can meet the masters of the past and ask them questions. You can meet yourself, your past lives, and ask questions. You can meet the core of the loved ones and ask them all the things you'd like to. You can have gifts presented to you. You can have healings. And there's something else. You can meet someone that's very, very important. And that someone I will reveal later in the Circle of 12. That's just to say, for those of you who are not members of the Circle of 12 and listening to that you can do anything. In this soul energy is pure healing. In this soul energy is everything you ever were or ever will be. And you can touch that. You can sit within it like a bubble of peace that was mentioned before. Dear ones, I want you to understand that the miracles you believe are miracles may not be miracles. They may be what you've always been able to do. They may seem like miracles to others, only because they have been told these things are not possible. And they are. I want you to understand that this soul energy can be used in other ways as well. You don't have to cross that bridge. You don't have to go into a visualization. You can drop within your heart instantly and be in that beautiful theater that all of you know about. And you can just sit there and be loved. Because you transfer that which is your consciousness into the field of your soul. And suddenly, you're in this beautiful bubble, and you know it. And you want to sustain it as long as you can, like the gurus in India, in their profound meditations. And it can go on as long as you want to, and sometimes time is removed in those areas. This is what you can do every single day. Drop into your heart, feel that bubble of peace within you, and know that you are in your soul energy, and you don't have to do anything. You don't have to meet anybody. But it will soothe you. And you will be in touch at that moment with your core energy, and you will feel peace and compassion and love in times where you really need it. These are troubling times for many. And our information is always the same. That you don't have to be part of it, dear ones. And you can remove yourself to such a degree that the frustrations will not be frustrating. And you can be peaceful and walk through.
So let's move into a brief meditation before we have the Kryon channel. And to help us prepare for that, I invite you to close your eyes and move into that space where the external world can just take a back seat just for a few moments as you reconnect with the core essence that is within you. There is something within you that responds and resonates to the message of Kryon. It is why you are here. It is why you have connected with us. And perhaps you feel that when you come out of this place, your world doesn't have that beautiful meld between your light work and your day-to-day life work. So perhaps we can give an intention that as we move forward in our life, we have more of a meld between our spiritual life, our core essence, and that which we do on a day-to-day basis. Dear Spirit, bring about a meld between the core essence of my divine soul being and that which I do on a day-to-day basis. Dear Spirit, bring me the synchronicity that I need to fully step into my passion, my purpose, and the things that ignite my spark on a daily basis. And now with that request, imagine how that feels for you to already have that meld with your core spiritual self and that which you do in a daily life. And let us give gratitude and thanks that we always have the ability to go in and listen to Kryon again and again to help us rekindle the remembrance of who we are. And to help rekindle that remembrance of who we are, we now sit back and enjoy the beautiful message that is coming directly to you at a very personal level from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. So much is happening, dear ones, with you. Question about dreams and reframing things and the body reorganizing things, it is indeed true. And I will add this to that in this new energy, dear ones, Spirit knows you, knows what you're about. Spirit cooperates in so many ways to help you. Dreams is one of those ways. If you haven't noticed, dreams seem multidimensional. And what I mean by that is they're never linear. You're in places that you used to be, meeting people that shouldn't have been there or who have even passed. So the dreams mean something else. Sometimes they distract you while you work on other things, and sometimes they're a direct relationship to what you're learning as a light worker. How many of you have dreams in color, or perhaps that you're flying? These are dreams, dear ones, that show you, indeed, you're on the right track. Perhaps you have wished you would have dreams like that. Let me tell you, before you go to sleep, give intent for the dreams that you wish to have and see what happens. For those of you who have dreams that you don't like, you can control that as well. Dear Spirit, you might say before you go to sleep, let the dreams this time, tonight, enhance my magnificence. Let me awaken refreshed and smile at the lovely things that I've had presented during the night. You are so in control of the things that you might not think you're in control of. None of you are a slave to bad dreams. You can control them completely, totally. Like all of the other things that we've been telling you, you are in charge of. This is channel number 4 of 4. The title of Things Hidden in Plain Sight. And we've given you 3 other things that are hidden in plain sight, and some of you know those things, but perhaps we're not aware of the profundity of how you can do it or how you can use them. I've saved until last perhaps the most practical one. It's not esoteric. Some of you will say it is, because you're not understanding perhaps how it might be used. But truly, it is not esoteric. It has to do with you doing something that no organization that is spiritual on this planet has ever told you you could do. And it's this one. You, as you sit there, as you live from day to day, can control your own reality. This always gets us in trouble when we speak of this, because there are those who look askance and say, look, chance is chance. If I step off the curb and a truck is coming, that's chance. Now, how do you steer around the things like that? How do you create a reality which will not have you step in front of a truck by chance? This is where it gets good. Let me present something to you. If you do not have any consciousness toward your path, in other words, if you simply let chance happen, and it will, just like you said, imagine that there is a path before you that is filled with potholes, and you'll step in a number of them, and that's called chance. Now think for a moment that you give consciousness toward your path. And when you do, dear ones, you're presented with a path that either has no potholes or you get to steer around them through timing and synchronicity. You won't be at that junction where the truck comes along because you have asked not to be. That is how it works. You connect with the field, where the field has the potential of absolutely all consciousness and things that may or may not happen. And you start to steer yourself through that consciousness into fields with no potholes, because you are now in control of your path. Dear ones, I am telling you that you have the ability not to have a chance random kind of future. It's also a consciousness of what you expect. And that's how it works. It's not you then consciously steering yourself into places you want to go. It's you with your intent and your affirmations for your life. What are your perceptions of what you can do? Do you think it's possible for your own body and your own mind to project yourself into safe places? For you to give intent for greater things than you have, or to be in the right place at the time that you need to be? What do you think of this when you would say, "Dear Spirit, tomorrow, let me meet the people I should meet appropriately. Steer me into the correct places. I'll be aware with my intuition of those places. Bring me this or something better." And that's the prayer. And it's simple. But if you do it every day and you do it often enough, you're going to see you get to control chance. And you won't be in front of the truck. In fact, you will meet the people you need to meet in order to go to the next level that you have then projected for yourself. I wouldn't tell you this if it were not then being able to be measured by others, seen by others. And so many old souls and light workers are participating in this. Your intent and your verbalization for what you want is the key. We have said before so many times that you are in charge of this, which is your reality, through your verbalization and what you expect next. It also goes to explain the opposite. How many times have we told you this? You are not a victim of this planet. There are those, and I hope some of them are watching, who feel they are. And so I will say, if you feel you're a victim of this planet because bad things continue to happen over and over, let me ask you, what do you expect next? The answer is often more of the same. If you analyze your thoughts, your verbalizations, dear one, who feel you're a victim, you will find yourself telling others how bad things are. You'll find yourself verbalizing your fears. I hope this doesn't happen, you'll say. And yet by the verbalization of then stating it, you put it out there for it to happen. You are controlling your own life, and you're steering yourself into trouble. It's almost like, indeed, I've said it before, it's almost like you're in a restaurant ordering on a menu, and you've ordered things that will create that which makes you think you're a victim. The worst things you can imagine come out of your lips, and you're not even aware of it. If you change your intent and start to expect good things, even things you've never seen before, you start to change that reality. This is the way of it. This is a tool of the human being through consciousness, which has always been there. Some will even call it a law, the law of attraction, that as you put things out, they attract to you. As you then put out on that menu the things that you are expecting to have happen, the good things, the synchronistic things, the things that others say are impossible, and then they start happening to you, you know it works. My partner has seen it in his own life. There are others who teach it. It is so real to so many, including my partner, that he designs his life through the expectations of things that have not arrived. And when they do, he smiles. I know it works. And he's not alone. There are so many who start to understand the process of consciousness, intent, to be in the right place, to meet the right people. And they plan around this to such a degree that you might think they can even tell the future. That's how powerful it is. I would like to involve all of you in this kind of projection. And perhaps right now with me, you might take a moment to use this gift together and follow this lead. Dear Spirit, I understand this gift. Dear Spirit, I am not a victim of chance. Dear Spirit, my magnificence can help create a reality for myself that is healthy, steered into the correct place, not by chance. Dear Spirit, I intend the best for myself. Dear Spirit, let me be in the right place at the right time. Dear Spirit, I wish to take my magnificence and push it to the future and see the solution to all the things today that are inappropriate in my life. Dear Spirit, this is my legacy. I am aware of the new energy, and I claim it for myself, knowing that light will shine upon me. It's the light of my own soul. It's the light that I came with. It's the light that will change everything from now on. And if you want to put an amen at the end of that, go ahead. That's traditional.